Another chapter unfolds as we will not see Rohit Sharma walking up to the toss wearing the blazer anymore for India. Hitman healed the Test captaincy campaign with calm, but now the torch must pass on to the next generation. So, who will lead Team India into the next era of Test cricket? Watch the video till the end because the guests are also ready with their choices. A new chapter begins with Rohit Sharma hanging up his boots. No more Roko, to be honest, because both of them have said bid adieu to Whites. 7:29 p.m. says the Indian captain, just like Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Then we need to look in forward, look into the future, look for the next decade, and have a new captain. But who will it be? And that's what my question is. But first of all, what legacy has Rohit Sharma left behind us? What a man, has won us a T20 World Cup, has won us a Champions Trophy as well. Orko, your thoughts on how good was Rohit Sharma on the field?
Well, definitely, his leadership stood out, of course, because he has always been someone who believes in giving his teammates, his players, a lot of freedom. He wasn't a person who used to believe that unless you're senior, you should be expressed, but he used to give equal amount of opportunity to even the youngsters, the juniors, also to express themselves. So he himself endorsed a free-flowing brand of cricket and let his contemporaries, his teammates, also do the same. So I think that's what stood out, and his leadership would be missed, even in terms of an experience standpoint. But again, the life has to go on, and you need a successor. And I think this is just the right time.
Absolutely. This is the right time. Many are saying, is this the right time? Because there's an England tour coming up very shortly. Should Roko, rather, now we can say that. Did they do the right call or wrong call? There was a time. It had to be someday or the other. Rohan, coming to you. We always say we love the stump mic conversations of Rohit Sharma whenever he's on the field. Can we say off the field, how was that dressing room scenario? We have seen so many medals going around since the 2023 World Cup. How much do you give credit to somebody like a Rohit Sharma building that environment? You witnessed it in the IPL as well for the Mumbai Indians, but especially in the whites for Rohit Sharma for India.
I think a huge legacy, because I think he made sure that aggression that he brought at the top of the order went through the ranks to the junior most player as well. And we know how lightly he kept the environment as well, keeping the youngsters also, that garden wale kind of remarks that he kind of made sure the youngsters were part of the team, and that the atmosphere was such that everybody could grow into their own and not be too burdened about the pressure or anything. And they were able to express themselves also on field, either with the bat or ball. I think the environment and the lightheartedness that he was, I think he had that elder brotherly treatment towards all. So I think that's what will be missed for the guys who will be taking up the ranks moving forward.
Absolutely, that will be missed dearly. And then the funny nature, how cool and calm he is with the players, but something wrong, then we know what he can do as well. But Utsav, captain needs to be having a very, very good in terms of numbers. Can you give us numbers a little bit on what Rohit Sharma has been, especially in whites?
Yep, Rohit Sharma took over the captaincy from a side which kind of had a legacy behind it. Virat Kohli made a beautiful side, and then he had to leave the captaincy in a way that probably someone wouldn't want to leave. And in
Correct.
terms of Rohit Sharma, someone wouldn't want to take up a captaincy at a time when the team is going through a lot of transitions or a lot of clouds behind there. Pujara was taking a leave, Rahane was taking a leave, and the team was probably not as well gelled up as well. He started off really well, a couple of series wins at home, a win in West Indies as well. But the last 1 year kind of tainted his stats a bit. The series loss at home and the series loss at down under. So his overall numbers.
Can we consider more of the series whitewash against the Black Caps more of the damaging factor than the Border Gavaskar Trophy?
Absolutely. I think winning a series in Australia is something that we kind of hope for. It is not a given every time. Yeah, we won 2 back-to-back series, but it's never a given to win a series in Australia. And in fact, going into the series, we were least confident about winning it. So the series loss at home was something that probably put the captaincy a lot back, and probably this transition wouldn't have happened had we won the series 2-1. But instead, we lost it 3-0. So yeah, the overall numbers got a bit tainted there. 24 matches, we won half of it. 3 draws and 9 losses there. Most of it coming in the last 1 year.
Absolutely. Most of them coming in the last one. But that is what it is when we come or talk about Rohit Sharma. But the legacy has been left behind now. But I'll add a little bit of Virat Kohli as well. 2 greats of Indian cricket, 45 and 18 together. Do you think the right decision has been made and we move on to a transition period before a new World Test Championship cycle?
Well, of course, it's debatable. I mean, I'm not exactly sure if it's the right call because I feel that Kohli did have a lot of cricket, and not just cricket, but a lot of as a player value to offer in that particular format as well. But again, if Rohit and Kohli thought it out that way, that both would leave at the same time and let the future take over, they perhaps thought this is the right time. So again, that's just a personal call, and only time
Yep.
will tell as to whether that move was a good one. But I still
Yep.
feel that Kohli could have continued, maybe not Rohit, but perhaps maybe a year or two, we could have thought of Kohli continuing given his fitness. And it's not that he's not been among the runs. He had a century in Perth as well. So I think that Kohli could have continued, especially keeping in mind we are playing in England coming up. But again, if that's how they want to decide things, that both the senior men leave at the same time, then that's of course a very selfless call and keeping in mind the future.
Absolutely. Keeping in mind the future, and this is where I come forward to now, who is the right candidate for the future? And what could be the criteria actually when we talk about a good leadership in whites for Team India? We've had over the years many successful captains, starting with the great sort of Ganguly. His record, his numbers say 49 matches, 21 wins for Team India, with a percentage near about 43% of winning percentage. That's not that good enough because it's untouchable when we come to King Kohli. Mahendra Singh Dhoni is there, 60 matches, 27 wins with 18 losses to his name. His percentage around 45 with just 6 wins away from home. Now, where Test cricket defined Team India is where King Kohli brought into stage. He captained with a percentage of 59%. That's incredible. 68 matches, 40 wins, 17 losses. But if you see away from home, 24 wins at home, 16 wins away from home. Is that the difference of the other three captains, including Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli? Is that a difference, Rohan? Because Virat Kohli, if we talk about a test captain, is he the name? Is he a prime example of what should come ahead when you pick a captain for a long term?
100% agree with you, Pritham, because as you said, Dada inherited a team that was very much in transition. We were treated like a pushover basically from other teams, and he gave us that steel, that resolve to believe that we can win anywhere. And moving forward, MS with his chill, cool, calm demeanor and smartness, especially in white ball cricket, he led us to a lot of success, and equally well, especially at home when the pitches were assisting spin. So, but moving forward, the real up game happened under Virat Kohli. I think the main thing was the fitness factor and the fast bowling arsenal that we developed. I think his knowledge was simple, that if we have a good enough potent bowling attack, we can pick those 20 wickets to win test matches, be it in any conditions. I think along with Ravi Shastri as his co-partner in coaching, I think that was the kind of a
Correct.
duo that we had where we could plan succession against any opponent in any condition. I think that's where the fear, I think when Virat took over, we were at number 7 or 8 in test rankings, and he made sure we raced to the number 1 spot and retained it for a very, very long time. Of course, added on, we
Exactly.
won tours down under twice, though Ajinkya came
Exactly.
in at the latter half of that. But we won a lot of test matches abroad, be it that England tour where it was ending up to all. But that Lord's test, when he said, let's give them 60 overs of hell, I think that was the
Exactly.
real
Exactly.
high point for me as a Virat Kohli fan, if you can say, because the bowlers really were charged up. The return of Ishan Sharma as a better bowler during his tenure, and Jasprit
Umesh
Bumrah, I
Yadav.
think Umesh Yadav, of course, at home in conditions, I think he was a revelation. But mainly for someone like Jasprit Bumrah, until then was looked up more like a white ball specialist, to give him that test match go, and where he is now the world's number 1 bowler across formats. I think that's what legacy is, what Virat Kohli has laid upon. I think whoever takes upon, we'll discuss this later, but it will be their job to make sure we go that one step higher. I think the mark
100%.
has been set. Let's go and take it to a further higher notch and make India what it is across all formats, the number 1 team.
100%. That's the reason why I said, is he the prime example? But Utsav, coming to you, before I move on to your choices, all the three of you, is winning tests away from home a very important criteria? Because if you look into the numbers, including Rohit Sharma, who has won just 3 matches away from home, 16 matches won by Virat Kohli away from home, just 6 for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, 11 for sort of Ganguly. Winning at home is always, you can say, it's pitch conditions are there, still gettable. Winning away from, especially in Sena countries, is that one of the biggest criteria before you think about a captain for Team India?
Yes, definitely. I think losing at home is something that you do not even talk about. It is one of a decade kind of a thing that has been happening since the last 25, 30 years. So, yes, if you have to think of a captain, then you have to see a person who is the aggressive kind of a player who has the mentality
Correct.
to go out there and challenge the opposition even when you're not at your own home soil.
Absolutely, that is true. But will we see that? Will we see, because Virat Kohli has set an example. Rohit Sharma tried his best, but he took few games leaves as well. You had stand-in captain Virat Kohli at some point, you had Bumrah at some point, with others at some point. But who is the right candidate? Who is required at the moment for Team India? I'll hear it from all three of you, starting with you, Arko. Who is your pick and why?
KL Rahul. I believe that he's the one who could be the right choice at the moment because he's someone who could perhaps be a stopgap option if you look at for the next 2 3 years before we could groom a younger leader like Shubman Gill or someone else. And also given the fact that the other options like Bumrah may come with a bit of an injury worry and workload management, I think KL Rahul could be the right person because he's also led by example. Even in his limited stints, he's someone who's done well in overseas conditions. He's a stable batsman. I think that's what you perhaps need in an Indian team setup. And given the fact that he's a regular in the side, I think his seniority would also speak for him, and that's perhaps why I would want KL Rahul to become the next captain.
Understandable. I really agree with the point you mentioned about justifying KL Rahul. KL Rahul has been consistent, especially away from home. But a spot in whites, especially the way you said as a leader, he's a very good leader behind the stumps if he has the gloves. But we have already a proven wicketkeeper batter in the side, especially in the test format, Rishabh Pant. How do you justify that spot? Do you think KL Rahul will be in the slip cordon? How do you think he will succeed as a test captain?
Well, I think he still would because, even when he doesn't keep, I think he has an amount of decision making that comes from him, and people do rely upon him, perhaps because of his acumen, in terms of game sense, as people associate with. Perhaps even if Pant as a keeper comes in, maybe Rahul would be the one who could, be a calming influence because sometimes we do know that Pant gets a bit riled up, gets a bit excited in getting his reviews whenever needed or not needed. Perhaps Rahul could be that calming influence, and maybe that could work in India's favor, at least for the time being. And I think that he would still have a big say in DRS, even if he's the captain or if he's not.
Okay, so that is a very important point, and that's where I think Team India had a lot of success in the 2023 World Cup. KL Rahul behind the stumps in terms of decision making. You have given your thought. KL Rahul is your pick. What about the others? Rohan, over to you. Who is your pick and why?
Shubman Gill for me. I think the era of the king is done. I think the prince has to take over. So I think we have seen him in the IPL a couple of seasons. To start, it was tough for him, but I think slowly he has matured. And as Utsav had said, that aggression that we need to make ourselves a bit more defendable when we are overseas, at least. I think Gill has got that charisma also. And of course, sure shot starter in across formats is what something which we do look upon before deciding a captain. And also, he's very young. I think we have seen over the years when a young captain is there, the pressure will be slightly less, and the seniors around him can really give him those inputs and make sure it's a long road ahead for him, so that the results can be much more achievable. Yes, it will be maybe a bit tough at the beginning, but you learn from your mistakes and you can progress further. I think I'm sure someone like Shubman Gill can make sure the Indian cricket and the next few years is unparalleled at least.
Shubman Gill, the king is done, the hitman is done, the prince is where you're taking forward, and as per the rumors, he's the front runner. But we'll see according to our choices we are going for. But Shubman Gill, you said about he has been captain of the Gujarat Titans for a couple of years. I think IPL cricket is a different ball game to compare to international, especially the longest format of the game, red ball cricket. Don't you think he's still too young to handle the pressure?
Yes, that's where I think if you're young, you can always get support from your senior players like a KL Rahul or
But
as the
who?
C.
Who is it? Because no more Rohit, no more Kohli. Who is the senior person he's going to go up to?
As I said, someone like KL, Jasprit Bumrah, even Rishabh at times from behind the stumps will be, and the coaching staff as well, who will be in his ears to guide him further. I think it should be a collective effort. Yes, Shubman Gill will be the one who take those on-field decisions, but I think all these people have to give him their inputs so that he can make the best decision for the team moving forward. I think that's the hierarchy will be, but Gill has to be the one who should lead us forward.
Okay, so according to you, Shubman Gill, Orko says KL Rahul. Any different name I am expecting from Utsav? What is your pick and who is it?
Jasprit Bumrah. The reason being, he is the greatest India has ever produced. If you have to talk about captaincy, if you talk about aggression, he is the guy who India would be looking forward to go. The only problem that people talk about is probably the form, the fitness, also the workload management. But if you do not give him enough games, then what is the point of having Jasprit Bumrah? In these years when he is probably going, his we are just seeing the last days of his prime, and probably just get the best of him in the next 5 6 years.
But when Rohit did not come for the first test, what wrong did Jasprit Bumrah do in the first test in Perth? He was a match-winning captain, led from the front. Are you saying that a bowler can be a captain? Because we have seen a very rare that Indian bowler can be a captain. Recently seen Jasprit Bumrah. Before that, if you go to great, Kapil Dev was the previous one.
Yeah, India has never had a history of having fast bowling captains. But if you take a look outside, then Imran Khan was a fantastic captain for Pakistan back in the day. Apart from that, the smirk from Rohan says a lot of things there. But yeah, after that, even if you look at the biggest competitor that we have at the moment, of course, it is Australia. Their captain is Pat Cummins, and he's doing a fantastic job. Keeping
Correct.
his workload managed, winning games for them, winning the Ashes. He at the moment has everything apart from the T20 World Cup and the Champions Trophy.
Absolutely. You said about Pat Cummins. I wonder how many other fast bowlers are there. Was it a month or two that Shaheen Shah Afridi was appointed and then he left it? And I was like, okay, Shaheen Shah Afridi company to Bumrah. He shouldn't do that. But Jasprit Bumrah is your choice. KL Rahul, Shubman Gill, Jasprit Bumrah, all three of them are the choices. Who will it be carrying forward? Will we see a different name as well? Interesting segment coming up now is the crossfire segment where we know our Orko has gone with KL Rahul. I've gone with Rohan for Shubman Gill, Utsav for Jasprit Bumrah. Now, all three of them will go lock-ons against one another one by one. Starting with the first one is Orko versus Rohan, and let's begin the battle.
Rohan, you suggested Gill as the successor for the Test captaincy. I would like to ask you what's your take regarding the inexperience that he brings at a stage as big as this and how it might possibly affect his batting?
I think this is a challenge for someone like a Shubman Gill to take up and to make sure he delivers on the promise that he has shown. He has done well in the white ball formats. I think it's high time in Test arena, especially overseas conditions. He delivers with the bat and imposes those big scores, just like our Virat Kohli would have done at Adelaide. I think these are the opportunities you look forward to, and this is a chance for him to make his name in the annals of Indian cricket. So I think this is an opportunity for him. Let's rise for the prince, is what I feel. Coming to someone like KL Rahul, I feel sometimes what he can do is he's a senior most batter, and I don't want him to be burdened too much, especially in overseas conditions. If he has to be your opener and in challenging conditions, the captaincy burden can kind of negate his captaincy. And also, I think sometimes he's not as lucky as well in the toss or decision making at times, so which is also equal factor when you want to win those key games. So all these factors a little bit maybe minuscule, but at times very key. I think that's the only reason I think I'm a bit against KL coming in as a captain. What do you feel?
Well, I do agree with these points that, certainly that timid nature of KL Rahul, which people associate, and also the luck factor often comes in the way. But I think experience speaks for him. He leads by example, especially in the overseas circuit. If he opens or decides to, play at 3 or 4, trying another opener like maybe a Sai Sudarshan or someone, perhaps even then KL would have an integral role, not just as a captain, but also, to fill the gigantic shoes of someone like a Rohit or a Kohli as well. So I do believe that KL would get the job done. And recently his form has also been great and he's in his best mental space. So I think the best of KL Rahul is about to come.
I think I agree with both of you rather in terms of your questions, and I call to Orko first because the question you asked to Rohan was very interesting in terms of if whether Gill will have an additional pressure on his shoulders as well. Gill has been a captain for the Gujarat Titans, but what I feel he has been the vice captain of India in the limited overs as well. But what I feel is that will he have a little bit of burden on his shoulders when he walks out to bat? Will we see Gill at number 3 or will we see him opening up the order because the opening slot is now empty up for grabs alongside Yashasvi Jaiswal? But on the other hand, KL Rahul, what I feel is that KL Rahul has not been tested as a leader in the international circuit as of yet. He has been really good being the deputy or being just as a freeloader as a wicket keeper if you go to the 2023 World Cup, 2025 Champions Trophy. A fair point, but if KL Rahul has to step up and if he has to take it up for grabs, he can do that, but not as long as Shubman Gill gave. If Shubman Gill is ready for captaincy, if he can take that spot, I think he can keep it for at least 5-6 years if he succeeds. I think I agree for both of you point, and this is getting interesting because Utsav is yet to chip in. That's batter number 2 we are heading towards, Rohan versus Utsav.
Okay, asking Utsav here, Bumrah being our key fast bowler, don't you think injuries also been a factor in recent times, and workload management is also a key issue here? Don't you think in between a series, if he takes a break just to get himself revitalized again, it can affect the leadership group and the decision making in the overall process, which can create a lot more confusions going forward. So I think that's the only reason I'm a bit against Jasprit Bumrah as captain. Your take on this?
Well, Jasprit Bumrah is not someone who is, not versed with injuries. He has gotten injured a couple of times, and your question is very valid. But having said that, a bowler would know very well how much of a workload he can manage and he can carry. That is the number one thing. If we look back to the BTT when after which he got injured, he was not used properly. He was given unnecessary number of overs to an extent that he told that
Correct.
I'm exhausted now, I cannot bowl anymore. So I think that is one of the reasons that he got injured. And I think if he becomes the captain, he will know better when to put himself aside and the best times when he can come forward to bowl. Yeah. So my question to Rohan is thinking of Gill as a captain. One of the major things that comes up is his overseas records. This will be this will be his first England tour. Hasn't scored a lot of runs down under ever since Gaba. Do you think as a captain he might find himself stuck between prioritizing his role as a captain or proving himself overseas as a batter?
I think England nowadays the pitch is a lot more flatter. Yes, at times it can be the Duke's ball move around depending on the overcast conditions. But in general, because of this baseball ability which England is going into, I think the pitch is a bit more flatter. And someone like a stroke player like Shubman Gill, I think it's an ideal opportunity for him to step up his game and kind of enforce his showman what he is. And I think that's a perfect chance for him up the order, make those big scores, make sure that India is in a right position given any kind of condition. If you're batting first or ball need to bat second, I think this is a chance for him to make sure his record is corrected. Yes, it was a long time before at the Gaba where he showed his skill, but again, that was his first tour in Australia as well, where he showed his class. So I think this is also a chance for him to make sure the people in England remember Shubman Gill for a long time, just like Virat Kohli showed his class in 2018. So I think let's go Shubman Gill.
Okay, so Shubman Gill has been constantly backed by Rohan. He feels that despite the pressure, he will go all guns blazing, backing him after a long time. I rightly mentioned about by Utsav that since that Gabba test away from home, we haven't seen Shubman Gill much in terms of big scores. But on the other hand, talking about Jasprit Bumrah as a captain, no doubt he has impressed me versus Australia, and he's led from the front, brilliant bowling, and got India to a victory. But if reports coming that he's not fit to play all 5 test match, if he plays 4 and doesn't play the other, I think that just disturbs the side in terms of leadership, or also the lineup as well. That's where I think that if Bumrah is not 100% fit to lead this side and all play all 5 tests, I think I'm not going to go for Bumrah, is what my opinion is. What about the others? We'll hear that. Final battle coming up, Utsav versus Arka.
Okay, so let me go first. To Arko, if we're talking about KL Rahul, he was very close to getting dropped from the Indian side in the recently concluded series against Bangladesh. He got dropped from a test as well. The opening spell at Perth kind of gave his career a revival. Do you think it is the right time for KL to take up more responsibilities, especially when he has stepped down from his IPL captaincy duties to focus on his batting?
Well, I think international cricket and IPL is a bit different from each other. Maybe he wanted to focus on his batting just to be ready in time for the England tour for international duties. So if he's handed the leadership, maybe the best out of him could come out. And we already know that he has a good record overseas, and maybe the best time is for him to perform at this level going overseas and maybe getting an extra responsibility as a captain. So if this year is meant to be what KL Rahul wants it to be, I think this is the right time for him to take up the leadership. To Utsav, actually, I would like to ask, even though I agree that Bumrah ticks all boxes, especially except for workload management, do you think that inexperience in leadership would slightly edge KL Rahul past Bumrah because of previous captaincy stints which KL Rahul has in international and domestic cricket?
Yeah, well, KL Rahul has a lot of captaincy experience in the domestic leagues, in the Ranji as well. But when it comes to the hunger for being the captain of the Indian Test side, I think Jasprit Bumrah is not only the most stable player in the Indian side. Like, never will a question ever be asked on Jasprit Bumrah's position. Apart from that, every time Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli were unavailable to captain the side, Jasprit Bumrah has taken the responsibilities twice. So far 3 times, yeah, including the Border Gavaskar last match. The results did not come our way, but the captaincy that he did, that was pretty convincing, to be honest.
Okay, so Jasprit Bumrah cannot be dropped, but it's very interesting that Orko says about Jasprit Bumrah. Can his inexperience as a captain be the point? Rohan has been confident since the beginning of the show about Shubman Gill. He might be the front runner, young captain. He might lead the side for the next few years, maybe. KL Rahul is an interesting choice. Is there any other choice? Is there any other names apart from the 3 of us that have been mentioned? I'll give it over to you. All of you who are watching this video, can you name any other? Is anyone right out here? Whom are you supporting? Are you backing the pointers of Utsav, Rohan, or Orko? Let us know as well in the comment section, because this is getting interesting. IPL is once again coming back very, very soon. But Indian Test captaincy is very, very important, because it will be announced pretty soon before the tour of England as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Fifth Umpire, press the bell icon as well. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.